Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Ryan Zarama, CEO of Centauro and one of the board members at the Drupal Association. And I'm here to introduce the easy out of the box keynote for this year's DrupalCon. As a reminder, we have cart captioning pinned in the chat. So please make sure to take advantage of that if you need it. And just to sum up what we've been doing this year at DrupalCon is that we're bringing to the main stage not just keynote speakers from the industry and the community, but also bringing to the main stage the leaders of our strategic initiatives that are driving Drupal forward. In fact, following today's keynote about the Easy Out of the Box initiative, you will have the opportunity to join the leads in a separate room dedicated to Q&A. So please save your questions until then. There will be an additional number of select sessions highlighted throughout the day relating to the Easy Out of the Box initiative. And if you'd like to contribute to any of these, any of the things that you hear about today, please be sure to join us in the mentored contribution later today from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. And with that, assuming I got the time zone right, it is my pleasure to introduce and to welcome to the main stage Emily Nouveau, Sasha Eggenbecher, and Amy June Heinlein to tell you a bit more about the Easy Out of the Box initiative.
Thanks, Ryan. That's a nice warm welcome. Like Ryan said, the three of us are representing the Easy Out of the Box initiative this morning. And let me get the hardware right. We've broken the presentation down into 5 segments. First, we want to tell you exactly what the initiative is and where and how people can help. We're going to look at a case study. We're also going to talk about what really needs to be done next to make sure that we go over the finish line. We'll talk about how to contribute, and then like Ryan said, we'll have a separate Q&A after this in Hopin if you folks want to ask us any questions. So, you know, what is Easy Out of the Box? It's an initiative for making the editorial experience clear and empowering from the moment Drupal is installed for users. This initiative is composed of 3 pretty important features, all for editors: the Claro theme, layout builder, and media. And I want to introduce the whole team. You know, there's Emily Nouveau, Sasha Eggenberger, myself, and then not on stage with us right now is Christina Chimeas, Tim Pluckett, Lori Escolo, Adam Globus-Honig, and Marcus Cano, and they'll all be helping throughout the year on this initiative. So a little bit about Claro.
Yes. So let's talk a bit about Claro. So Claro in a nutshell, the design for Claro for the Claro admin theme is based on the newly created Drupal admin design system, sometimes also referred as just the Drupal design system. And we basically redesigned the whole interface. So this includes all the administration pages, and it also touches some editor components like the admin toolbar and also like the contextual links menu. Accessibility is a key part of the Claro theme. We sometimes even call it accessibility first. So from conception over design to implementation, accessibility always takes like a key role. And like Claro is still experimental. So it's the one feature here from this initiative which is not marked yet stable. So this is how Claro looks like. So we have like a fresh and modern look. The goal was to be as inclusive as possible. And as I said before, accessibility plays a key role here as well. So if you go to the next slide, so here we can see another screenshot which shows like the node edit form. And as you can see, we have here like a nice example with the media library widget. And if you want to learn more about like the design system and everything about like the design strategy behind Claro, there was an in-depth talk about this stuff at DrupalCon Amsterdam, which was called Designing the Future of the Drupal Admin UI. So feel free to have a look there as well. Talking about the media library, can we go please to the next slide? So I want to take you quickly, before we talk about media and so on, about like the history lane of Claro. So it was around like before DrupalCon Vienna. I think it was in 2017 when the first design proposals were revealed. And then in 2018, we started with the development of the Claro theme as a contrib theme. So this included also the start of the Drupal admin design system, which we created in parallel. And to iterate faster on Claro, it was started as a contrib theme. Then after several iterations in 2019, we were able to include it, after also some hurdles in core, to include it as an experimental theme in Drupal 8.8. And now basically like the big task is to reach stable with Claro, that we can also mark it as the new default admin theme in Drupal core. So I mentioned media, and there's also like media and layout builder in this initiative. And Emily will be next up to talk to you more about that.
Hey, I'm Emily Nouveau, and I'm going to talk about layout builder and media. So layout builder is one of our tools so that you can build pages and your layouts without needing to code them up. So the way that layout builder works, you build with sections. So instead of having a predefined layout for a page, you go in and add a section to the page, then select a template for the section. So usually a number of columns, but sometimes more interesting section templates like galleries. And then you add components and blocks into the sections, into the columns once you built them out. So this allows you to have a standard layout for all content of a certain type, and also to do one-off page designs. So you can build out your template with these sections and then go into an individual piece of content and modify that layout and add different blocks on different pages. Layout Builder right now is stable, but it's not enabled by default in the standard Drupal installation. So this is a page showing how Layout Builder can work. This is in the Umami demo installation. So you can see a site, and this is a layout template. So this is a layout template for all recipes on the site. And that you can see here, once a section's been added, there's a 2-column section, and you can add blocks to that 2-column section or add new sections above and below the section that you're working on. And so Layout Builder, the layout initiative began in spring of 2017, and we began this initiative to build this better layout tool in core. So at the time, the ecosystem was largely around either using something like panels or paragraphs or hard coding templates that you needed a developer to build for you. And we wanted to bring something that was the standardized way of creating layouts in Drupal. So it began in spring 2017. By winter 2017, it was experimental in core. So that's when people could add it to their site to test out and see how it works. And then in spring of 2019, it was marked stable. And so now it's stable for use and stable in core, but we'd like to get it into the standard profile. And so that's our next goal. And so next is media. This is how you can organize your digital assets on your site in Drupal. So the way media works, you have media items that are used as they're reusable entities instead of just an image stored in a field. And you can have a media library, so you can filter and organize your assets inside of this media library with your relevant metadata connected to the media asset and shareable, so you can reuse it on a new piece of content after you've added a media item. So media is also stable, but it's also media library is not enabled by default in the standard Drupal installation. So here's an example of how media library works. So if you go in to create an article, you can add media and select from your media library and add the item. Okay, so next we have a case study to show how the NSF is using Claro Layout Builder and media. So the NSF is building their new beta site in Drupal. And right now there's a Science Matters blog post area that's already launched on the beta site. And they are using Claro for the backend. They're using media for storage of reusable content. And they're using Layout Builder to lay out their pages. And so here's an example of a backend page where you create a basic page, and you can see that they have a clear and welcoming design. It's really easy for editors to use. That's the benefit of Claro. And content editors can edit their page layouts without needing to know HTML. They don't need to code these designs up. They can adjust the page from the UI. So here's an example of adding a section to a basic page to show a different category for Science Matters, and to also have some marketing content and to the general public. And you can see, they can add different templates and use different content blocks in those. And once they've saved, this is what it would look like. And it's a really simple, intuitive, easy to use tool. And using media, the NSF can share multimedia assets with other editors easily throughout the site and store them so that you aren't continually looking through a drive to try and find the media asset that you need, or accidentally reusing content over and duplicating it. Now there's a library that can be browsed through. And so this is an example of a filterable list of media that's stored on the site. So you can see different categories and topics and types, and a list of media items after being filtered. So that's how the NSF is using these 3 modules to make life easier for content editors. And they have media for searchable, shareable multimedia assets, Layout Builder for easy page building with consistent branding, and Claro to give this clear modern design to enable editors to do their best work. So what's next?
Good. So what's next for Claro? There's a new content creation menu proposal in the ideas issue queue. You can see the link on the left side. We are basically proposing to add a new menu to the admin toolbar, which will enable the content creation process, or make the life easier for content editors. So like the life for content editors is usually that they have multiple sub-items from different, like menu items they need access to. And we're basically proposing, as you can see on the right side in this wireframe, that we combine all the things that the content editor needs in a new menu structure. So this can include like to create new things, like creating entities, creating nodes, adding media, like everything like the person has access to, and also like all the other stuff he needs, like his account settings and help and so on. Please check the proposal out and share your feedback with us. We didn't receive so much feedback yet, so we're looking forward to receive more feedback. Another thing is the new content editor role. So out of the box, Drupal doesn't have like a content editor role or a dedicated role for content editors. With this issue also linked on the left side, we want to change that. So we want to add a content editor profile or like adding this role to the standard profile of Drupal, which can play a crucial role in the future for this initiative for Claro and other features. This issue currently needs review. So if anybody wants to hop in and review this particular issue, that would be very helpful for the initiative. Then another thing which I wanted to present you is that we constantly work on improving the user experience. So also after the stable release of Claro, we won't stop. We want to basically improve the user experience in an in an increment way. And this screenshot was the first draft of a potential UI, which we presented at DrupalCon Amsterdam. And if you go to the next slide, we can see that basically like this so-called future UI, which we saw in the previous slide, was already made available as a country theme, which is called the Chin admin theme, which you can already use today and also provide us feedback on stuff you like, stuff you dislike. And there is one more thing in the next slide. It also has a dark mode. So any of you ever wanted to have Drupal in a dark mode, it's available as an experimental feature there. And if you want to learn more about Chin and also like in general about how we want to improve the user experience for content editors, then also feel free to maybe join later my talk, A Better Experience for Content Editors later today. Back to you, Emily.
So for the future of Layout Builder, we have a couple of big issues that we want to sort out, and we also like to pull in community input on these. So one of the things is, do we need full site layout editing for this to be in the standard profile? So in this image, you can see here it's a mock-up of what we could possibly do. So it shows that header's a global region, and you could add blocks to the header and then have that as a separate area from your main content area, and same for any other regions on your site. And we'd like to bring in more discussion about if this is necessary for standard and how exactly we want to go about it. And another one is how we want to do block visibility controls. So if you have a block that's available on many pages on your site, but you want to limit it to a certain subset, how do we want to convey that to the user? How do we want to build that? So that's another big issue we'd like to have discussion on. And for media, we have several issues around accessibility and other issues around usability. So an example of an accessibility issue for media is providing tools to manage audio and video transcripts for media items. So that would be a really helpful thing to bring in for accessibility. And for usability, this is an example of an issue where when the modal is below a certain width, it gets a little odd and confusing. So we have a few user experience issues for media that we'd like to get improved. And on to Amy June.
Okay, so how to help us this afternoon and moving forward in this adventure. But before I talk about how to help, I really want to talk about why we need, or why people should help. It feels really good to give back to such a unique project like Drupal. Contributing makes you feel like a more integrated part of the Drupal community, and you have the opportunity to shape the future of the project through collaboration. Not only that, but contributing can help you build up your Drupal.org profile and your resume. It can really help with your career development. And the more you contribute, the more you learn. And who can contribute? And anyone who's been to any of my contribution workshops, of course, the answer is everybody. But we wanted to break it down a little bit for this, for the easy out of the box, and kind of explain how everyone can help. You know, the look and the feel, remember, we're really trying to have that use of that ease of use. So we're definitely looking for designers and people who are familiar with user experience. We'd love to have presentations and copy for contribution events so we can keep the momentum moving forward with gathering new contributors. So marketing, we have some marketing tasks laid out. Documentation, like always, it helps future users and contributors, you know, not only with basic setups and configurations, but also with onboarding new contributors. And not everyone can paint pictures with words. We'd love help getting the word out in fun and creative way through social media. And then, like both Sasha and Emily were saying, one of the Drupal core values is to build software that everyone can use. So accessibility is super important for this project. We don't want to leave any user behind. So we want to ensure that this project is accessible out of the box. And then, of course, we need developers to tie together the concept to the code. And it's really important for this project to have novices and new users help us out because, well, we value input from everyone, but remember, going back to the roots, we want beginners and first-time users to love Drupal from that first experience. We want them to stay with Drupal. And who better to make that first experience excellent, you know, and help us sort of triage issues is those new users or people who haven't historically been a part of that content experience before. You know, they don't have expectations or previous experiences. So new users are perfect people to test the new editorial process because we want to make sure that they can navigate the interface and understand the admin side as well. And how do we connect? DrupalCon's broken up a little bit differently these days, you know, with the content delivery in the morning and the contributions in the afternoon. Contributions are happening over in Open Social, at the Open Social platform. We have an out-of-the-box group with some events attached to it, so make sure that you go over to Open Social and register. There will be spaces for this initiative along with others, and also a space for new contributors where mentors will be available. And we've also worked out some issues in the issue queue ahead of time. We have some issues tagged and ready to go for folks to jump right in. And then we have other issues that need triage and summary inputs and input, like Sasha was saying, for some of that UI stuff. And these are good tasks to work on for beginners to work on by themselves or with a group of mentors. You can see from this picture, you know, you can use the advanced search function in the issue queue to look for the easy out of the box tag. You can also search by the individual components, Claro, Media, and Layout Builder as well. So what we've done is we've created an event for this afternoon. So right after the main program and the content delivery, we'll be having a reception in that Open Social space. It'll be a really good opportunity to meet the team, you know, see how human we are and get to know us a little bit. And perhaps we'll be able to find people some direction and some workflow ideas. We'll be helping, the idea is we'll be helping folks get into a good space to contribute. There's also space in that Open Social for first-time contributors. So I just want to emphasize there will be a first-time contributor workshop first thing, but we'll still have the reception hall throughout the day for those new contributors to come in. So thank you. We are all in the easy out of the box space in the Drupal Slack space. We have weekly meetings every Monday, depending on your time zone. We meet and we talk about issues that need some work, what we need to improve, when we're going to meet next, and things like that. And like Ryan said, we are going to be in Hopin in a few minutes to have a Q&A. So thank you. Thank you, Sasha, and thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Thanks.